Lisa Jane Gadd, how's life?
Living it up in Alvera.
By the looks of it, you are. Lisa, tell us a wee bit about your business.
So we are a female-only health and wellness facility, doing things a little bit different. Our membership covers all bases from strength training to yoga and Pilates, saunas, compression therapy, red light therapy, nutritional consultations, in-body scanners, weekly seminars. Lots going on.
There's a lot going on there. What was going on before you joined the ECA Mastermind last April?
We were starting to move into female only, so when we first opened, we were open 2 years, just past there, last week, the week before, and the first year or so we were mixed gender, and slowly but surely the men just started leaving, and we decided we were just going to lean in on what was happening. And for us, it was very much, how do we do this? How do we package this? We were running lots of 4-week, 6-week intakes, and it just always felt like by the time one intake had started, you were needing to market for the next one. So it was just constant marketing, which obviously isn't our forte. We're coaches at the end of the day, but yes, we need to be the marketers of our business as well. So I think it was all just constant chase and tail, no real organisation, just moving into the female only and not knowing how to package that. So Ben and I are very good usually when we do these kind of trips ourselves. That's normally where we put our heads down and we start to look and think, but I don't think we had went away maybe around this time last year. We just kind of started working with yourself, and then it was just really, how do we streamline, how do we systemize, who do we bring in, how do we bring in, and how often does that happen?
Nice. Has there been a point this past year where you realised it was the right move to join the ECA Mastermind and to get in the room with the rest of the guys here?
I think probably on one of our first few calls when you just kept telling us no. And that always sounds a bit silly in the sense that, like, you're not telling us yes, do this, yes, do that. But I think sometimes, like, you get big ideas and you run away with, like, oh, I should do this and improve that, and just like constant pushing on. But it's like, what's the quote that you say? Stay small enough for long enough and you'll be big enough soon enough, kind of thing. And it's like,
absolutely nailed it.
if you just stay and nail those basics, just like with clients themselves, nail the basics, the sleep, the stress, the training, the nutrition, nail the basics of, your day in, your day out, rather than constantly chasing your tail. So yeah, I think the first few calls definitely was a big thing for us. And then once we launched High Performance Her, which was a new thing that we developed in the July and launched in September, once we got through the other side of that, I think the pressure kind of lifted a bit. We had sight of where we were going, how, who, and how often.
Yeah, and it's typical, you and Ben, your husband, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a typical relationship where you've got one visionary and one operator, and you guys kind of epitomize that.
Yep.
And it does take sometimes outside eyes for someone just to say, well, I know you've got a big vision and I know you're an operator, but now we need to bring those two things together and figure this out. And the development of your front end offer has just rapidly change things for you guys. I suppose it's taken away just some of the frustration that was there, which
and I think that's why the Mastermind is so good as well, with yourself specifically, because there's so many other people out there doing like business masterminds and marketing whatevers, but how many of them have actually built facilities and businesses? Like, typically the first business they've built is the one they're trying to sell you into. Yeah. They haven't actually built the facility. So I think that has definitely, you've put our mind at ease so many times, being like, yeah, that happened to me too, or yeah, profit's not always going to be a thing, or whatever. And it's just like, you've been in the trenches, so it's relatable, but also then you can guide us based on your mistakes. We're not having to make them all first time ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. And that does collapse time. People. I don't think people realize how much time that actually collapses. And at the end of the day, you can do things the easy way or you can do things the hard way. The great thing about you guys is that you're extremely coachable and you execute on a extremely high level, and so
a wee bit of pressure from me helps.
With a wee bit of pressure. But of course, that was inevitable for you. Who would you recommend the ECA Mastermind to, and what would you tell them to convince them to join?
Very similarly to how you would tell a client to not waste time just spinning the reels on their own, going to the gym. You're trying to sell them into the sense of get a coach, someone that's going to guide you from the start. The exact same thing with the mastermind. Again, you're just spending time spinning your wheels, wasting money, wasting time, where you could just come in from the get-go, where maybe your money's not that big yet, but by putting that money aside and investing it, like, I definitely think you'll speed up your results much faster, and money will start to kind of roll as a compound effect. So it's kind of put out to get back if you're in early days, or even if you're not. We were already open a year before we joined you, and I feel like the difference between year 1 to year 2 is something else. So I can't imagine how much faster and how things are going to improve between year 2 to year 3 based on how much we've grown in year 1 to 2.
Spectacular, Lisa. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.